and that we're willing to come together.
We are strong.
We are standing with you, Las Vegas. We love you.
It's Mad Dog backstage here at day 3 of Route 91 Harvest Festival.
Route 91 Country Festival. Working.
My sister and I have been going every single year. It's become our favorite tradition to do. Like, we planned back in April for this.
It's our honky tonk time,
It's
dude.
Sunday fun day.
Yes, it is.
My wife and I were celebrating our 18-year anniversary.
I had good food. It was really fun.
Everybody was having a good time. We had just gotten one of those really good, like, freshly made pretzels.
Give me a hot dog. Come on, Jay. We're going on break. We're going on lunch. We'll be here till 12 midnight.
We got the man, Luke Combs in the building. What's up? How we doing, man? How you doing? I'm good, man. Hanging in there.
How's Vegas treating you so far?
I haven't been here too long, so good so far.
So far.
Beautiful Vegas night. Beautiful people smiling, dancing.
Sitting down with the band right now, Big and Rich. John Rich, Big Kenny. And tonight, 6:35, main stage here at Route 91 Harvest Festival. You better be here.
Let's sing it together.
Because the party is coming, baby.
Sing God bless America.
We stood up there on the stage at Route 91. The whole crowd singing God Bless America. Put the phones up and the lights on. And, you saw one of the most powerful moments of American unity that you can possibly see.
Sing it now, say God bless America, my home sweet.
And it was a phenomenal time. The smiling faces, everybody was singing the words.
Jake Owen was performing. He was just getting ready to wrap up. As he wrapped up, there was some time in between his set and Jason Aldean's set.
I was working as an usher there in the VIP.
We were just having fun. Jason Aldean is probably one of my favorite, like, artists, period. And so I was super excited. We wanted to get closer.
As soon as he stepped out on stage, everybody started singing and dancing.
I was dancing with them, just happy with them.
Jason Aldean came on stage at about 9:40. I stood there for about 2 or 3 songs.
God, it was just, we were having fun. Jason Aldean, I know, like, most of his songs, so I was just jamming out.
It was like another concert, right? I mean, he's starting out, everything is good, everybody's coming off of a big high with the previous band, and everything is going well, and the fireworks started.
The first shot right now.
And we hear, pop, pop, pop.
Jason was still playing, and he looked up at the sound system, and I hit Brian on the arm. I'm like, I think the PA just went out.
I thought maybe he was going to have fireworks part of the show, and maybe they didn't go off right.
Firecrackers.
That sounds like a firecracker. Who the hell would have a firecracker here?
Some idiot is trying to get some attention.
I knew it wasn't pyrotechnics. It was part of the briefing. They had said that there was no pyro in this show.
And then, Jason Aldean left the stage, and then it got quite hectic after that.
Then the screen went black, and everybody thought that it was technical difficulties on stage. It's quiet. Nobody understood what it was.
all standing there, and all of a sudden we heard. I flew back. And I was like twitching, and I was screaming in pain.
We're being under attack.
And then somebody started yelling, you know, somebody's shooting, somebody's shooting.
Everybody finally realized that shots were going off.
And we all just dropped down on the ground.
I was just trying to get as low as I could to the ground, because that's hard to do too. Because of course being overdue and big old belly.
It had a smell when it hit something, a metal thing. It smelled like burnt wires or something burning, or you could smell the smell in the air.
But it wasn't hard to figure out what it really was.
And then people all around us just started dropping me down.
Everybody was just panicking and running, and I was, for the most part, I remember like everybody freaking out, and I was just trying to focus on my breathing.
And looking to the left and to the right, I could see people dropping, being shot. And I can recall one woman that was shot in her shoulder.
There was a guy that got shot in the head. Jake just kept telling me, don't look, because he was really bad.
Stick together, I got you, girl. Don't worry about your phone, stick in your pocket.
And as soon as I got within 3 feet of her, I just stepped in a pool of blood. And it was at that moment I knew that it was real.
We started looking around. I saw some officers in that group. They went and put their hands on their weapons, getting ready to draw them.
Hey, you guys, get down! Go that way! Get out of here! There's gunshots coming from over there! Go that way!
And then we heard that first long volley. I was right behind him when that started. There's a short cinder block wall that divides the sidewalk from the street, and so I ducked. I got low at that point.
He would empty his magazine, and then he'd pause for a bit, reload, and then empty it. Pop, 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 pop.
1692 means we got shots fired. 4:15 ASF. Route 291, sounded like an automatic firearm.
I have a police radio.
Automatic fire. Fully automatic fire from an elevated position. Take cover.
I heard the words automatic gunfire.
Shots fired from Mandalay Bay. There's many people down. States left. Just be advised.
I heard country music concert.
We have an active shooter. We have an active shooter inside the warehouse.
We had a Metro officer, and I saw him looking down at his radio, and so I asked him, and I said, hey, is this for real? And he goes, yeah, man.
Somebody in the CP, can you tell me where it's coming from? We're headed from Mandalay Bay. Somewhere at Mandalay Bay.
Call the police. Someone's firing a gun up here. Someone's firing a rifle on the 32nd floor down the hallway. Copy. Hey, it's on 32. Get out of the way.
Get out of the way.
You gotta make sure you're out of the way.
My sergeant sent me a text saying that there was an active shooter at the Mandalay Bay.
Stay calm. Just relax. We're trying to get this set up. Okay, calm.
And then I remembered, well, Charlie, he's in that area. I wonder if he knows what's going on.
We have multiple victims shot fired right at the medical tent. We got one shot in the head.
It seemed like I blinked and just the whole tent was full of people, bleeding, screaming, help me, help me.
We kept hearing shots, so we began ducking behind the police vehicles at that point.
We're running past bodies. There are people pulling their friends, and they're screaming and crying and pulling their friends into cover. And I'm running past them, but I'm pulling them. And I'm like, have a bunch of people that I'm trying to get to safety.
We need to stop the shooter before we have more victims.
My mom is turning pale, and her eyes are rolling in the back of her head, and I'm sitting there watching her, and I mean, that was just horrifying. Everybody's crying, everybody's screaming. And retired firefighter came over to us, and he said, if you want to live, you need to get out of here right now. And we refused. We said we weren't going to leave our mom, and he said, you will die if you stay here. He goes, I will stay here. I'm trained for this. I will stay here with your mother.
We kept carrying me, and we kept having to drop because we kept hearing rounds.
I literally was working on my knees at that point, just kind of going from patient to patient. Bystanders were in such distraught, asking me what they could do.
Seeing that, I kneeled down in the puddle of blood, and I took the shirt of one of her friends, and I pulled it tight around her arm just to stop the bleeding that was, it was gushing out.
That whole moment's it's a blur. There was a kid in his young 20s, and I watched him change color. I would say that I trained to watch people change color, and so it wasn't as hard for me. But even in that instant, it was hard to know that he wasn't going to go home.
We worked side by side to triage the first girl that I worked on. She was the one that had a through and through in her leg, and we stopped the bleeding and got an IV in and everything before she went off.
We're making sure to get that blanket, but I'm running out of blankets.
I remember tying that tight just to act as a tourniquet. And as soon as I did that, I told her friends to get her out of here as fast as possible.
3 miles, 4 miles. I don't know, we ran just forever.
We finally got to the medic tent, and there were just people piling in.
We have multiple casualties, GSWs in the medical tent. Multiple casualties.
I was a little concerned when they started talking about the carnage.
I got an officer with a gunshot wound to the neck.
But in my mind, I'm like, Charlie, he's fine.
There's multiple casualties, stage right on the conference floor.
Well, I said something is going on, something big, and then you saw SWAT coming running through with shotguns and get out.
790, I had 2 strike teams, 13 officers total, 2 sergeants.
All units, SWAT can utilize TAC 1. SWAT TAC 1 is now open.
724 and a foreman element, 29-4 on left side. Control 020.
020, right ahead.
Stay on the suspect's door. I need everybody in that hallway to be aware of it and get back. We need to pop this and see if we get any type of response from this guy. And see if he's in here or he's actually moved out somewhere else.
Copy. All units on the 32nd floor, SWAT has explosive breach. Everyone in the hallway needs to move back. All units move back.
Breach.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Sergeant Jeff Clark with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department Office of Public Information. I'm here to give you a very quick briefing as to the situation that is currently unfolding on the Las Vegas Strip. As you're aware, our officers, as well as our partners with multiple agencies, have responded to reports of an active shooter situation at the Mandalay Bay. I can tell you at this time, we do have a suspect down.
Has anybody on the outside heard any further shots?
790, that's negative.
We have several casualties making their way out of the east entrance at gate 5.
Oh my God. Yeah. Wait for me.
And somebody was yelling that they needed help doing CPR. So I went over to the young lady that he was doing CPR with, and he's doing the chest palpitations, and I was doing the mouth, but she was bleeding out the nose, and she's bleeding all over, and it was just a squishing sound, and then I blow in her mouth, and you could hear the gurgle, and when we tried it, and somebody come along and checked for a pulse, and there was nothing.
I came across a woman that was still alive but had taken a fatal shot, and making that decision as to whether or not she was going to be transported or not was a little difficult, knowing that she wasn't going to make it, and I ended up sitting next to her until she took her last breath, because that's the only thing I could do for her at that moment.
She had nobody, there's no friends, nobody standing there, there's nothing. I held her hand.
Right now, we need your truck. We just need to get people over to the hospital, okay?
He loaded her along with two other people into the back of the truck, and the truck drove away.
There are multiple trucks loading people, injured people in the hospital.
It was the roughest ride ever, and I just remember like, oh my God, just get me to the hospital. Like, all I wanted to do was get to the hospital.
And we filled the entire ambulance bay with wheelchairs and gurneys, and then we waited.
Hey, Peter, shut down the 15 for medical and all officers going to the hospital.
What I immediately remember is as I was driving down DI, it was eerily quiet, and the fire trucks and ambulances were just speeding by me.
Then you can hear it, out in the distance. You can hear sirens coming.
201, I have 3 critical patients in my vehicle. I'll be taking them to Sunrise. Is there any available vehicles to assist me with keeping traffic out of my way?
First cars to get there were the Metro Patrol cars. They scooped up as many injured as they could. They threw them in the back seat. There was like 2 on the floorboards, 2 in the back. They pull up right next to me, and I kind of flag them down, tell them to stop right here.
I came in and not just ambulances, but there was Uber. I could see Uber cars and Lyft and pickup trucks of patients.
Go straight this way, and then you're going to go to the hospital. You're doing a good thing. Hang in there, all right?
It started off with, 2, one patrol car, then 2, then 3, and then pickup trucks, and then cars and Ubers and taxis.
Get up there.
And next thing you know, there's a line, this traffic jam of cars coming up the driveway up to Sunrise Hospital, just filled with people.
NHP to shut down the I-15 off-ramp to Tropicana.
There was a moment when I said a silent prayer and just said, you know what? We can do this.
So the people who are going to die within seconds or minutes, these are your red tag victims. And then there are the yellow tag victims, or the people who are they'll probably make it through these first few minutes, but they probably shouldn't sit more than an hour, otherwise they'll probably die too. And then there's the green tag victims. Those are the ones who are, the walking wounded. They have a graze wound to the leg, maybe a gunshot wound through the hand. They're not going to die from it within the next few hours. And black tags are people who are dead.
I pushed a lot of bodies into the hallway, and that was something that I've never in my life would think I would have to do.
And unfortunately, there was a good number of them that I pulled out of a car that night that were obviously, or Yeah, they were obviously dead. We broke rules and we had the pharmacist go down to the pharmacy and grab every vial of those two drugs to put people to sleep and drugs to paralyze.
We got to the hospital. I just remember people just lined up on the walls. I mean, so many people in multiple rooms just packed in blood. I mean, the floors were just covered in blood. I was sitting there and I was having a lot of trouble breathing. So I told Elena, I said, I need you to call Jesse. I need you to call him and I want to talk to him and tell him I love him in case I die. The doctor grabbed my face. Dr. Johnson. And he said, you're gonna f***ing make it. And you're gonna f***ing be here. And you're gonna do this. And then I went under.
She was one of our biggest saves, definitely.
On the radio traffic, there began some chatter about off-duty police officer that was killed. And once again, I'm like, not Charlie, no way. So I called my boss, who's down at the command post, and I said, can you confirm for me the name? I said, I have a friend that was down there off duty with his wife, and he goes by Charleston Hortfield. She goes, well, I haven't heard any of that name. And I'm like, okay, well, can you let me know as soon as you do?
Right now, we believe it's 100 plus injured and 20 plus dead.
Heavenly Father, please protect. Heavenly Father, please protect.
You know, you hear the casualty numbers just go up and up and up, and I know that my mom was hit. I know she was laying there on the floor when I left her, and I don't know her condition. I don't know where she's at. I mean, that was just absolutely terrifying.
Saw families in the hallways. They were just everywhere. I saw was concern, scared looks, not knowing. Very worried.
I knew the other, my colleagues in the other hospitals were probably going through the same thing, and I didn't know how bad it was for them as well.
As a trauma center, you know, we kind of thrive on controlled chaos. That's really the nature of what we do. You know, working in trauma, you always kind of know in the back of your mind this could happen. And so at that moment, I kind of just thought, this is it. This is when we really get to work.
Blueberry 22 on the route to UNC with a female with a gunshot wound to the head.
And the wounds were all over the body. They were everywhere. So there was no body part that was spared. They were crashing. And, you know, all the other doctors were busy with other resuscitation. So I ran back there and they're like, Menace, we need you here. You got to do this one. No, you need you here. You need to do this one. No, I need you on this one. And so I just said, okay, come here. And we'd bring all the beds together. All the heads of the beds together, kind of like a flower pattern. I'd be in the center, and they'd just go to work.
Dr. Menace was actually really good about, we had some kind of system of organization in what seemed like an impossible way to get some organization at the time.
It worked like we had done it before. It was amazing. If you had seen it and you understood kind of what the lingo was and what was happening, I mean, it was like we had done this many times before. It was controlled chaos is the best way I can describe it.
All right, can you hear me okay? Well, good evening. Yeah, I have two police officers that are currently at the hospital, and one of my officers was off duty attending the concert and lost his life.
An hour later, the phone rang. I was like, oh boy. So I picked it up, and she goes, it was Charlie. I started shaking. Knew right then and there that I was going to have to start processing that this person that was very special to me was no longer with us.
I've never had to be in, to make a makeshift morgue, to have patients in there that we had to identify. And one of them was the police officer from here.
I did go to PACU to check on the nurses that way, and when I went through PACU to see a policeman standing guard holding the American flag was surreal. And I knew that he was standing protecting one of our officers, because the other officers were still standing at attention in the hallway. Took my breath away. Sorry. It's an emotional time.
Everything hit after the adrenaline crashed, and I was sitting there and I was holding it, and it just all kind of crashed over me.
Yeah, it was not what I was expecting for day 3 of the concert.
That was like an escape death. Oh my God. Oh my God. This escape death.
If you need drinks, water, food, anything, let me know.
I just
whatever you need.
Can't talk.
The number of people that have died associated with this event has increased. Right now we're using the number of 58. The number of injured, we are using the number of 515.